Many officers notice something changes after they've been on the job for a while. Situations that used to bother you don't affect you the same way anymore. You might handle serious calls calmly and then feel almost nothing afterwards. Conversations feel different, reactions feel muted. You still do your job, but internally something feels quieter than it used to. Some people describe it as becoming tougher. Others privately worry they're becoming someone they didn't plan to be. And a lot of officers never say anything about it because they assume it's just part of the job. A lot of officers first notice it during conversations. Someone is telling a normal story and you've realized you're only half listening because your mind is scanning the room or thinking about potential problems. You're not trying to ignore them. Your attention is just pulled towards awareness automatically. Many officers don't even realize they're doing this until someone points it out. This usually doesn't happen overnight. It starts small. At first you feel more alert at work. You're paying attention to everything around you, people's hands, movements, tone of voice, what doesn't look right. Then after a few months, you realize your reactions outside of work start changing too. Things that used to stress you out don't bother you as much. But at the same time, things that used to make you happy don't feel as strong either. You may notice you don't react emotionally to calls that would have affected you before. You clear the wall, write the report, and move on. But later at home, you feel distant. You're physically there, but mentally still running through situations from the shift. You might become impatient in normal conversations, not because you want to, but because your brain is still in problem-solving mode. And you may find yourself relating more easily to other officers than to people you were close to before the job. Some officers also notice humor changes. Things that once seemed serious now feel minor, while normal everyday concerns from others feel harder to relate to. You're not trying to disconnect from people, but your reference points have shifted after repeated exposure to unpredictable situations. This isn't a personality flaw. It's actually your brain trying to help you function. Law enforcement exposes you to unpredictable situations repeatedly. Your brain adapts by reducing emotional intensity so you can think clearly during stressful events. If you reacted emotionally to every call, you wouldn't be able to make decisions under the pressure. So your brain does something protective. It lowers the emotional volume. That's why you can handle a chaotic scene calmly. Your mind is prioritizing awareness and decision-making over emotional reaction. The problem is, your brain can't always switch that off when the shift ends. You may also notice you relax differently than before. Instead of feeling fully relaxed, you feel temporarily distracted, watching TV, scrolling, or staying busy. But true mental rest feels harder to reach. That's because your brain is staying prepared for change rather than fully powering down. Instead of turning off after work, that same alertness stays active. You stay observant in restaurants, you scan entrances without realizing it, you notice behavior patterns automatically. Many officers don't connect irritability to this at first. Short patience at home often isn't about family or stress in the moment. It's mental fatigue from staying alert all day. The brain has been making decisions continuously, and small things suddenly feel harder to tolerate. At home, your brain still wants to assess and solve problems rather than relax. Over time, this creates distance. You aren't choosing to detach. Your mind is staying in the work state because it has learned your environment can change quickly. Many officers interpret this as burnout or losing motivation. Often it's actually something simpler. Your brain has learned a survival-focused operating mode and hasn't been taught when to leave it. This commonly begins in the first 1 to 2 years. Early in a career, you are learning responsibility, consequences, unpredictability. Every decision matters. Your brain works hard during this period than most officers realize. You are building judgment, awareness, and pattern recognition at the same time. To handle that mental load, your brain narrows emotional processing so you can function consistently. It's efficient for the job, but without boundaries, it leaks into normal life. Becoming quieter emotionally does not mean you're weak, and it does not mean the job has damaged you. It means your mind adapted to perform under pressure. The issue isn't that the change happens. The issue is that most officers are never shown how to switch mental states between work and normal life. The job requires a certain mindset on duty. It does not require you to stay in that mindset all the time. And many officers feel better once they understand what's happening, because it stops feeling personal and starts making sense. The important thing to understand is this change is usually gradual. Most officers don't notice it day by day, only when they look back and realize that they react differently than they used to. And once they recognize it, it becomes much easier to manage. If you've noticed these changes early in your career, you're not alone, and you're not doing anything wrong. You're experiencing an adjustment that many officers go through but rarely discuss openly. Understanding it is the first step to managing it and to staying effective at work while still feeling like you're outside of it.